Hare Krishna. So, a very warm welcome to all of you for today's session on the Bhagavad Gita. We'll start our session with the prayers. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So, in our previous session, we discussed about the Vedic cosmology. I shared with you an image in which the whole Vedic cosmology, it's a pictorial depiction of the Vedic cosmos, the universal uh, construction, the universal creation of the Supreme Lord. And we also discussed about the spiritual creation, the material creation, the how this material creation came about, why it came about. Many aspects we discussed in brief. Because Lord Krishna, he tells in the shloka, in the 16th shloka, he says that Abrahma Bhuvanal Lokan Punaravartino Arjuna. That even if you go to the highest planet in the universe, still you'll have to take birth again. So we covered the whole universe, the spiritual world, the material world, and why we covered, because now we are into that part of the Bhagavad Gita where Lord Krishna will talk about material and spiritual creation. So today we'll begin our discussion with text 17, shloka number 17 of the 8th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. Sahasra yug paryantam ahar yad brahmano viduhu ratrim yug sahasrantam teho ratra vido janah. Sahasra yug paryantam ahar yad brahmano viduhu ratrim yug sahasrantam teho ratra vido janah. Translation: 1,000 ages constitute the duration of one day of Lord Brahma, and the same is the duration of his night. This is understood by learned scholars. So now in this shloka, Lord Krishna is talking about the dimension of time in the universe. Time is not constant in the universe. In this universe, time has different dimensions at different places. Broadly classifying, time is in the shape of an inverted cone in the universe. That means as we go up in the universe, as we go to higher planetary systems, the dimension of time increases. I'll share the same image with you, which all of you can see that, because the same image we covered in the previous sessions also. So you can see on your screen the image that we discussed, the picture that we discussed in the previous session. You can see here the above part is the spiritual creation, the below part is the material creation, and Brahma Jyoti is the place where both are situated. Now, if we see our universe, you can see this is our universe. And there are 14 planetary systems in the universe. Okay. Now, our planetary system is Bhuloka. Okay. Our planetary system is Bhuloka. Above Bhuloka is Bhuvaloka. Above Bhuloka is Bhuvaloka is Swargaloka. So the dimension of time increases as we move up in the universe. The dimension of time increases. So in Swargaloka, one day in Swargaloka is equal to 180 days on earthly planet, Bhuloka. That means the 12 hours in Swargaloka is equal to 180 days on earthly planet. And 12 hours is their night also. So 24 hours in Swargaloka is equal to 1 year. That means 360 days on earthly planet. Okay. Now, as we move up, the dimension of time increases even more. So, in Satyaloka, which is the planet of Lord Brahma, the topmost planet is the planet of Lord Brahma. So, that's what Lord Krishna is talking about here in this shloka. Coming back to the shloka that we were discussing, you can see on your screen. Lord Krishna is saying, Sahasra Yug Paryantam Ahar Yad Brahmano Viduhu. Sahasra Yug Paryantam. Yug means a whole duration, and it's in English we call it an age. So different ages are there. There are 4 ages. Ages means the whole world or the whole earthly planet has certain characteristics during different ages. And as the ages progress, like the first age is Satyug. Satyug is called the first yug or first age. Okay. Then Treta Yuga is the second age. Now, as ages pass by, the characteristics of the earthly planet changes. So Satyug is the most advanced age. That means the people during Satyug, the tendency of people during Satyug is completely different from other ages. People are more advanced. People are more pure by nature. Okay. So that is Satyug. So after Satyug comes Treta Yuga. So Treta Yuga is the second age. After Treta Yuga comes Dwapar Yuga. Okay. And after Dwapar Yuga comes Kali Yuga. So as of now, the age in which we are living, that is Kali Yuga. It is the most degraded age. And the duration of Kali Yuga is 4,32,000 years. Okay. The duration of Kali Yuga is 4,32,000 years. Now, the duration of Dwapar Yuga, which is before Kali Yuga, Dwapar Yuga comes. So the duration of Dwapar Yuga is 2 times of Kali Yuga. That means 8,64,000 years. The duration of Treta Yuga is 3 times of Kali Yuga. That means 12,96,000 years. And the duration of Satyug is 4 times of Kali Yuga. That means 17,28,000 years. Now, if you combine these 4 yugas together, the whole duration, then what is the duration? The duration is 4,32,000 plus 8,64,000 plus 12,96,000 plus 17,28,000. So if you combine all these 4 yugas together, the whole duration comes to be around 4.3 million years, 4.32 million years. Okay. 4.32 million years. That means 43,20,000 years. Now, 43 lakh, that means 4.32 million years is the duration of all 4 yugas combined together. Okay. Now, all 4 yugas combined together is equal to 1 Mahayug. It is called Mahayug, or the cycle of the 4 yugas, or the cycle of the 4 ages. This whole cycle of 4 ages, one cycle is called 1 Mahayug. Now, after Kali Yuga, again Satyug will come, again Treta Yuga will come, again Dwapar Yuga will come, then again Kali Yuga will come. After Kali Yuga, again Satyug will come. So that's a cycle. It keeps going on. Whenever Kali Yuga will end, Satyug will come. Whenever Satyug will end, Treta Yuga will come. Whenever Treta Yuga will end, Dwapar Yuga will come. Again, when Dwapar Yuga ends, Kali Yuga will come. After Kali Yuga, again Satyug will come. So it's a cycle which keeps going on continuously. Not eternally, but till the universe is there, that is the cycle which keeps going on. Okay. So, what does it mean? So, what is Lord Krishna saying here? That Sahasra Yuga Paryantam. Yuga Paryantam means Mahayug or cycle of 4 yugas. So, Sahasra Yuga Paryantam, that means Sahasra means 1000. 1000 into cycle of 4 yugas, that means 1000 Mahayug Aharyad Brahmano Vidu, that is equal to 1 day of Lord Brahma. Okay. And Ratrim Yuga Sahasranta, and same is the duration of the night of Lord Brahma. So what does it mean? That 1000 Mahayug or 1000 times the cycle of 4 yugas is equal to day of Lord Brahma, and same is the duration of his night. That means again 1000 into the cycle of 4 yugas is the night of Lord Brahma. So how much is the duration of the whole 24 hours of Lord Brahma? So the 24 hours of Lord Brahma is equal to 2000 Mahayugas. 2000 times all 4 yugas combined together. So what is the exact duration? So 4.32 million into multiplied by 2000. So that is equal to 8.64 billion years. 8.64 billion years, which means 8 billion 64 million years. That is the duration of Lord Brahma's 1 day according to earthly calculation. According to earthly calculation, 1 day, 1 full day of Lord Brahma, that is 24 hours of Lord Brahma, is equal to 8 billion 64 million, 8.64 billion years. Okay. You can see on your screen. This is Satyaloka. This is Bhuloka. So as we move up in the planetary systems, the dimension of time keeps increasing. So Satyaloka or Brahmaloka, 1 day of Lord Brahma is equal to 24 hours of Lord Brahma is equal to 8.64 billion years on, you see here, Bhuloka. Now, according to Vedic scriptures, Lord Krishna, we have discussed in our previous session also, you can see on your screen. If you remember, we discussed that this is Vaikuntha Loka. And Vaikuntha Loka, when we enter Brahma Jyoti, in the beginning, it looks as if there is only light. But when we keep entering, when we keep going within the Brahma Jyoti, then a time comes when we start to see the different planets in Vaikuntha. These planets are called Vaikuntha Lokas. And each Vaikuntha Loka or each planet, you see these shining bubbles are represented by the Vaikuntha Lokas or Vaikuntha planets. So each Vaikuntha planet, there are innumerable, no one can count, unlimited, infinite number of Vaikuntha planets, and each planet is inhabited by, or each planet is predominated by one of the unique form of Lord Narayan on that planet. Okay. Now there are Ananta Rupam, it is called. Anant means infinite number of forms of Lord Narayan. And these forms of Lord Narayan, when they descend in the universe, they are called avatar. Avatar means to descend from Vaikuntha to material world. That is the meaning of the word avatar. Avatar means to descend. So who descends? Lord Narayan in different forms. Okay. So our Vedic scriptures can only talk about few in avatars or few incarnations of the Lord. They cannot talk about all the avatars, because in this cycle of 4 yugas, the avatars that have appeared, our scriptures only talk about them. But what in the previous Mahayuga or in the previous cycle of 4 yugas, avatars were different. Prior to that, avatars were different. So no one can estimate the number of avatars which have appeared in the past and who will appear in the future, because there are innumerable forms of Lord Narayan and they all keep descending in different yugas. That's what Lord Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita in the 4th chapter. Sambhavami yuge yuge. I descend in every yuga, in every millennium, in every age. Okay, so what does it mean? That the avatars of the Lord, they keep descending continuously. Whenever there is requirement, the Lord will descend. And not only on earth, he will descend wherever he wants in the universe. So the avatars are basically Lord Narayan in his different forms who descend. Okay. Now, according to Vedic scriptures, Lord Krishna descends only once in the universe in a day of Lord Brahma. What does it mean? That Lord Krishna, in one day of Lord Brahma, he descends only once. In one day of Lord Brahma, he descends only once. That means that Krishna appeared 5,000 years back when Dwapar Yuga was going on. Okay. And now when he will appear next, after 2,000 Dwapar Yugas, after 2,000 Mahayugas, Krishna will appear again. In next cycle of 4 yugas, Krishna will not appear. Lord Ram will appear. Lord Ram appears in every Mahayuga. In every Treta Yuga, he'll appear. But Lord Krishna will not appear. He will appear only once in one day of Lord Brahma. So we can just imagine our good fortune. We don't realize how fortunate we are. Sometimes those who are born in wealthy families, they don't realize what good fortune they have, because they're always playing with costly costly amenities, which is very difficult for ordinary people to have, but they have access to it even when they are little children. So they don't realize what fortune they have. Similarly, we living entities on earthly planet, we don't realize how fortunate we are. That Lord Krishna appeared just 5,000 years back. And whenever Lord Krishna appears, in the Dwapar Yuga, in which Lord Krishna appears, in the same Kali Yuga, Lord Chaitanya appears. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also appears once in one day of Lord Brahma. When Krishna appears, in that Kali Yuga, after Krishna unwinds his leelas, unwinds his activities, in that Kali Yuga, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appears. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared just 500 years back. Lord Krishna appeared just 5,000 years back. Now they'll not appear again till 2,000 Mahayugas. That means after 2,000 Kalyugas, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will appear. After 2,000 Dwapar Yugas, Lord Krishna will appear on earth. Just imagine. We cannot imagine our good fortune that we are hearing Bhagavad Gita. Krishna spoke the Bhagavad Gita 5,000 years back. We are able to hear the Bhagavad Gita. We are able to practice the philosophy of Sanatan Dharma. We can just imagine how fortunate we are. So it's the greatest fortune which is available to very few people in the whole universe. And we are one of them. So it's great fortune. And the symptom of bhakti is, I tell all my disciples that the more you advance in bhakti, you'll be able to realize, you'll wonder about your good fortune. That, oh my God, how did I get to this? Even Lord Brahma aspires to be born on earthly planet because this time is so auspicious. Even people in upper planetary system, they want to appear on earth. They want to be born on earth. That time is going on. Why? Because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement is going on. So we don't realize our good fortune that we are hearing Bhagavad Gita, we are participating in Lord Chaitanya's mission, we are participating in Lord Krishna's mission. It's the greatest fortune. So that is what Lord Krishna is telling here in this shloka. He's talking about the dimension of time in this universe, and he's saying that one day of Lord Brahma is equal to 124 hours of Lord Brahma is equal to 2000 Mahayugas on earthly planet. And Krishna appears once in one day of Lord Brahma. Okay. Now text 18, shloka number 18. Avyaktavyakta sarvah प्रभवन्त्यः रागमे रात्र्यागमे प्रलीयन्ते तत्रैवाव्यक्त संज्ञके अव्यक्ताद्व्यक्तयः सर्वाः प्रभवन्त्यः रागमे रात्र्यागमे प्रलीयन्ते तत्रैवाव्यक्त संज्ञके. Translation. From an unmanifest state, living entities come into being at the beginning of Lord Brahma's day, and all beings are annihilated at the arrival of his night. Now you see. So Lord Krishna, he is saying, he is talking about the temporary dissolution or the temporary destruction of this universe. So he is saying that avyaktad vyaktaya sarvah. Avyaktad means unmanifest, and vyaktaya means manifest. Sarva means all the living entities in the universe, the whole universe in one sense. Prabhavanti. Prabhavanti means to be born. Bhavanti means to come into being, to be born or to come into being. Okay. So Prabhavanti means to come into being or to come into existence. Ahar agame. Ahar means day of Lord Brahma. Agame means when the day of Lord Brahma arrives. Then Ratriagame. Ratri means night. So when the night of Lord Brahma arrives, Agame means to arrive. So when the night of Lord Brahma arrives, Praliyante. Praliyante means destruction. Pralay. Pralay means destruction happens. And Tatra. Tatraiva avyakta sangyake. Destruction happens and everything becomes avyakta. Avyakta means gets destroyed. There is dissolution of the universe. So Lord Krishna is telling that whenever Lord Brahma's day arrives, living entities become manifest, universe becomes manifest, and whenever Lord Brahma's night arrives, all the living entities and the whole universe gets dissolved. Okay. So again, let's go back to the picture, the image. You see, so this is the universe. Okay. So according to this shloka, Lord Krishna is saying, as we know that Lord Brahma's one day is equal to 2000 Mahayugas on earth. Lord Krishna said in the previous shloka. Okay. So Lord Krishna is saying that Lord Brahma's day is equal to 1000 Mahayugas on earth, and same is the duration of his night. That means 12 hours of Lord Brahma's day and 12 hours of Lord Brahma's night. It constitutes 24 hours. Okay. And these 24 hours is equal to 2000 Mahayugas. So whenever Lord Brahma's day appears, there is creation of the universe. The universe becomes manifest. And whenever night of Lord Brahma arrives, there is dissolution or destruction of the whole universe. So according to Srimad Bhagavatam, it is mentioned Now, the destruction or the dissolution which we are talking about here is temporary dissolution or temporary destruction of the universe. So, after every day of Lord Brahma, as soon as Lord Brahma's night appears or night comes, there is temporary destruction of the universe. And again, when the day of Lord Brahma arrives, there is manifestation of the universe. So, this goes on. So, Lord Brahma's one day is equal to 2000, Lord Brahma's 24 hours is equal to 2000 Mahayugas, and Lord Brahma's 24 into 360. So 1 year of Lord Brahma is 360 days, and his whole lifetime is equal to 100 years. Okay, so if according to earthly calculation we calculate what is the duration of Lord Brahma's life, so that is equal to 2000 multiplied by 4.32 million into multiplied by 360 multiplied by 100. So if you multiply this whole the whole calculation, it is equal to 100 years of Lord Brahma, and that is the duration of the whole universe. Okay, now the duration of the whole universe is 100 years of Lord Brahma, and that is the duration of one breath of Lord Mahavishnu. You see on your screen, if you remember, we discussed that he is Lord Mahavishnu, Karanodakshai Vishnu. And who is Karanodakshai Vishnu or Mahavishnu? One of the Narayanas. There are unlimited Narayanas in the Vaikuntha planet, and one of the Narayanas, one of Lord Narayan, he enters into this material creation, and that's how material creation starts moving. And that Narayan, his name is Mahavishnu. So from the body of Lord Mahavishnu, these unlimited universes emanate. They are like bubbles floating in causal ocean. What is causal ocean? The perspiration of Lord Mahavishnu. So in that ocean, these universes are floating. Okay. So whenever Lord Mahavishnu exhales, all these universes come into being, and whenever Lord Mahavishnu inhales, all these universes enter into his body. All these universes enter into his body. So the duration of the whole universe is 100 years of Lord Brahma, and that is one breath of Lord Mahavishnu. Just imagine the expanse of the time scale in the material world. Okay. So according to this shloka, Lord Krishna is telling that after every day of Lord Brahma, there is temporary dissolution of the universe. So according to Srimad Bhagavatam, a fire gets generated from Lord Sankarshan's mouth, and this fire burns up the middle and lower planetary systems. That means Bhuloka, Bhuvahloka and Swargloka gets completely burnt up. They are completely destroyed. So all the living entities living in these three planetary systems, the middle planetary system, Bhu, Bhuva and Swaha, Bhuloka, Bhuvaloka, Swargloka. So the living entities who live on these three planetary systems, they all get completely destroyed or dissolved. These three planetary systems, they catch fire, they burn. Now the heat of the burning of these three planetary systems, it reaches Maharloka also. But the people who are living in Maharloka, they have the power to transfer themselves to Janaloka. So the devotees who are living in Maharloka, or because you have to be pious to go to upper planetary system. An impious person cannot go to upper planetary system, right? Sinful person cannot access upper planetary systems. So Maharloka means pious people live there, right? So the people who are living in Maharloka, they transfer themselves to Janaloka planetary system. Okay. So Janaloka, Tapoloka and Satyaloka, these three planetary systems, they do not get dissolved after the day of Lord Brahma. Right. But below Janaloka, below Maharloka actually. Maharloka is no living entity lives there during dissolution because it gets heated by the fire which emanates from these three planetary systems. Okay. So these three, the topmost three planetary systems, all the living entities, they remain intact. Below Janaloka, all the planetary systems, they get destroyed. And this happens every day of Lord Brahma. As soon as the day of Lord Brahma ends, there is destruction and all the lower and middle planetary systems, they get destroyed. And again, when the day of Lord Brahma arrives, again there is creation. And again, all the living entities, they become manifest. Now, what happens to the living entities during that time? Because body can be destroyed, spirit soul cannot be destroyed, isn't it? The body of the living entities can be destroyed, but the spirit soul can never be destroyed because spirit soul is eternal. So what happens to the spirit souls? So the consciousness that a living entity has when the destruction took place, so with the same consciousness, the living entities, they enter into the body of Lord Garbhodakshai Vishnu. You see. So after destruction, all the living entities in their dormant state, that means in their, because the body gets destroyed. So in their subtle state, they enter into the body of Lord Garbhodakshai Vishnu. You see. So living entities from Swargloka up to the lowest planet, Patal, they all get destroyed, their bodies get destroyed, and they all enter into the body of Lord Garbhodakshai Vishnu. And again, when there is creation, if you remember, we discussed this shloka in the 8th chapter only, in the previous shlokas, that whatever consciousness you have at the end of your life, that same body of similar consciousness you will develop in the next life, right? If a human being is dying and he has consciousness of a pig, so next life he'll develop a body of a pig. If a human being is dying and his consciousness is of a dog, he's attached to his dog, he will become a dog in the next life. If he is attached to a cat, he'll become a cat in the next life. If he is attached to a cow, he'll not become a cow. He'll develop a higher body. Why? Because cow is an animal in mode of goodness, sattva guna. Anyways, so all the living entities who are in these planetary systems from Swargloka to Patal, their bodies get destroyed, but in their subtle state, they enter into the body of Garbhodakshai Vishnu. And again, when there is creation, the consciousness that they had in their previous body, with the same consciousness, they are again created. That means the consciousness which they entered into Lord Garbhodakshai Vishnu's body, when the next creation is created, when the next creation takes place, when the day of Lord Brahma arrives, all the living entities, they are born with same bodies according to the consciousness that they had when the destruction took place. Okay. So in this way, continuous destruction and creation keeps happening. Every day of Lord Brahma till 100 years of Lord Brahma. This keeps going on continuously. Right? So there is a very beautiful divine activity of our Narad Rishi. As we know that Narad Rishi is the greatest devotee in the universe. So in the Srimad Bhagavatam, his disciple Vyasdev, he inquired to Narad Rishi that, Guru Maharaj, how did you become Narad Rishi? How did you become like Narad Rishi today? What happened in your past life? So Narad Rishi, he started explaining to his disciple Vyasdev about his past life. So Narad Rishi said that in my past life, the divine activities that I performed, it all happened in the previous day of Lord Brahma. Right? So the day of Lord Brahma in which we are present, not on this day. He said that my divine activities, my Leelas, they happened in the previous day of Lord Brahma. So in the previous day of Lord Brahma, when Lord Krishna appeared, I was born after that. And my mother was a maid servant in one of the ashram where pure devotees used to live. So my mother used to serve them. She used to wash utensils and everything at that place, in that ashram, in that hermitage. And I was a very young boy. I was a very, not a young boy, in fact, a little boy at that time, 5-year old, a very tender aged child. And I was completely dependent on my mother. My only dependence in my life was my mother. I was fully dependent on her for everything. One day, my mother, she went to bring wood from the forest, and she was bitten by a snake and she died. So then Narad Rishi said that I was a tender age child at that time, very, very tender child. And my only dependence was my mother. But because I was living with pure devotees, because my mother used to serve in an ashram where pure devotees used to live, so my mother, she, because of that, I started associating with pure devotees and I became attracted to serving Lord Krishna. And I developed attraction for Lord Krishna. So when my mother died, even at a tender age, you see what Narad Rishi's, what was his consciousness. So Narad Rishi said that I thought that my only dependence is my mother. Now she is also dead. So now I can fully devote myself to Lord Krishna. So because I was living with pure devotees, I was very much attracted to Lord Krishna. I completely dedicated myself to Lord Krishna. Whole life I engaged in devotional service to Lord Krishna. And when I left my body, when I died, the next body which I got was on Satyaloka. You see, this is Satyaloka. So Narad Rishi, he was living in Bhuloka, and after he died, because he completely engaged his whole life in loving devotional service to Krishna, and then when he died, Narad Rishi says that I got transferred to Satyaloka and I became an associate like Lord Brahma. Okay. And after that, when dissolution happened, that means when day of Lord Brahma ended, I, along with all the living entities in our subtle state, we entered into the body of Lord Garbhodakshai Vishnu. And again, after the night of Lord Brahma ended, and again when day arrived, I, along with all the living entities, were born again, were manifest again, and since then I have got the body of Narad Rishi. Since then, I can travel all over the universe and I can go wherever I want. Right? So just imagine. So this divine activity of Narad Rishi, his devotional service happened in the previous day of Lord Brahma. And in the previous day of Lord Brahma, he became an associate of Lord Brahma after he died. And then when dissolution happened, he entered into the body of Lord Garbhodakshai Vishnu. And after that, again when there was creation, he was born as Narad Rishi, as the son of Lord Brahma. You see? So this pastime talks about the dissolution of the universe, how it happens, and how different living entities, according to their consciousness, they are again created, and based on the consciousness that they had when destruction took place, according to that they get a body in this new creation. Okay. Now text 19, shloka number 19. भूतग्रामस्य एवायं भूत्वा भूत्वा प्रलीयते रात्र्यागमे वशः पार्थ प्रभवत्यः रागमे भूतग्रामस्य एवायं भूत्वा भूत्वा प्रलीयते रात्र्यागमे वशः पार्थ प्रभवत्यः रागमे. Translation: all living entities in all the planets in the universe perpetually take birth and die. At the arrival of Lord Brahma's day, living beings come into being, and at the arrival of his night, they are automatically annihilated. You see. So exactly what we discussed in the previous shloka. Same thing Lord Krishna is continuing this shloka. He is saying, Bhutagramah. Bhutagramah means, Bhut means all the living entities of the universe. Because all the living entities in the universe, their body is made up of the 5 elements. Panchabhut it is called. Earth, water, air, fire, ether. These 5 elements are called Panchabhut. And that is why all the living entities in the universe combined together, they are called Bhutas or Bhutagrama. Bhutagrama means the assembly or the sum total of all the living entities. So Bhutagramasya evayam bhutva bhutva praliyate. Bhutva bhutva praliyate. Bhutva bhutva means again and again they take birth. Bhutva bhutva, bhutva means to take birth. Bhutva bhutva means again and again they take birth. And praliyate, and again they die. This taking birth and dying keeps happening continuously. Ratriagame avashah partha. So what happens here? Lord Krishna is telling that continuously the living entities, they keep taking birth, and Ratriagame praliyate, and whenever there is night of Lord Brahma, they all die. They keep taking birth again and again. Okay. Till the day of Lord Brahma, they keep dying, they keep taking birth. And whenever night of Lord Brahma arrives, they all get dissolved. Okay. Avashah partha. Avashah matlab automatically. It works like a machinery. Automatically everything happens. As soon as night of Lord Brahma arrives, all the living entities, they get dissolved. Right? And prabhavatyah ragame. And whenever ahar means the day of Lord Brahma arrives, all the living entities are again manifest. They are again created. And once they are created, this goes on till the day of Lord Brahma. Again, they'll take birth and keep dying. Again, when night arrives, they all will get dissolved. Just imagine. No one can claim and no one can actually remember since how long this is going on. Anadi Karama Phale, it is said that since times immemorial, living entities are continuously taking birth and dying in this material creation. This all has to stop, and that facility to stop this cycle of birth and death is available only in human body. Human body is the solution to all the miseries of this material existence. Human body is the only body in which we can stop this cycle of birth and death. And only by the mercy of the spiritual master. That is why it is said, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that love matra sadhu sang sarva siddhi hoy. Sadhu sang sarva shastra hoy. All the Vedic scriptures unanimously accept that the greatest fortune of human life is to meet the spiritual master. As soon as we meet the spiritual master, our cycle of birth and death, the process of ending this cycle of birth and death stops. And by the mercy of the spiritual master, we become free from the cycle of birth and death. And that is what is the goal of human life. Otherwise, you can see here what is Lord Krishna is saying. That this keeps going on continuously, perpetually. Till we meet Guru, till we meet the spiritual master. Because the moment we meet the spiritual master, our life, the direction of our life changes. From animalistic life, we at least become human beings. And from human beings, we move to higher level of human beings. And gradually we become a Vaishnava, become a pure devotee of Krishna by the mercy of the spiritual master. And that's when our cycle of birth and death stops. So that is all initiated by the mercy of the spiritual master. And by his mercy only we advance in bhakti. Right? So that is what Lord Krishna is saying here. Now text 20, shloka number 20. Parastasmatu bhavonyo vyakto vyaktat sanatanaha yassa sarveshu bhuteshu nashyatsu na vinashyati. Parastasmatu bhavonyo व्यक्तो व्यक्तात् सनातनः यस्य सर्वेषु भूतेषु नश्यत्सु न विनश्यति. Translation: beyond this material world, there exists another nature that is supreme, eternal, and transcendental. It is beyond both manifest and unmanifest matter. While the material world is subject to annihilation, the spiritual world is never annihilated. Now you see. So what is Lord Krishna saying here? That parastasmat to bhavo anyo. Parastasmat. Para means material. Apara means para means superior or spiritual, and apara means material. Okay. So parastasmat, that means beyond this material creation, there is a para. Para means there is a superior spiritual creation. Right? That's what Lord Krishna is saying here. Parastasmatu bhavo anyo. That Arjun, there is anya, there is another nature which is superior, which is supreme. Avyakto avyaktat sanatanaha. It is sanatan, it is eternal. Avyakto, and avyak means it is unmanifest to these material eyes. Because through these material eyes, we cannot see the spiritual world. Why? Because material eyes are defective. There is defect in matter. Matter can only see matter. Right? So till we are in material concept of life, till we are in bodily concept of life, our eyes can only see matter. And spiritual world is beyond matter. Even the instruments that we have created, telescopes, microscopes, whatever it is, these instruments are also defective because our senses are defective. So with defective senses, we can only create defective instruments, isn't it? So that is why even though we may create best of telescopes, but human beings cannot understand this. Forget about spiritual creation. Human beings have no capacity to understand even material creation. It's so expansive, it's so huge. First of all, we need to understand how tiny we are. Earth is not even a speck in the whole universe. Earth is so tiny, such a tiny planet. And on this tiny planet, we are just a tiny living entity. And human beings have aspirations to understand the whole creation. Right? Almost impossible. Because that is beyond the domain of human beings to understand all these things. These things can only be understood by Vedic scripture, by understanding through Vedas, and through only Lord Krishna can tell about this because he's the creator. Okay. So neither the modern scientists nor the modern philosophers can tell us about all these things because they are defective, their knowledge is defective, their mind is very tiny, so they can never tell us. These things can only be understood through the agency of the Vedic scriptures, particularly Bhagavad Gita, because it is spoken by Lord Krishna himself. Okay. And this knowledge comes through disciplic succession, through parampara. So Lord Krishna spoke this knowledge to Lord Brahma, who is the secondary creator. Lord Brahma spoke to Narad Rishi. Narad Rishi spoke to Vyasadev. Narad Rishi can travel all over the universe. So the knowledge of the whole universe is given to Vyasadev. And Vyasadev wrote all the Vedic scriptures. So that's how we have this knowledge preserved in the Vedic scriptures. Right? So that's how we get this knowledge. So that's what Lord Krishna is saying here. You see, he's saying that paras tasmatu bhavo anyo. So what is that bhavo anyo? This is Vaikuntha. So Lord Krishna is talking about this Vaikuntha Loka. He's saying paras tasmatu bhavo anyo. So Arjun, there is another nature which is superior nature. Vyakto vyaktat sanatana. It is unmanifest to these material eyes. And that nature is Sanatan. This whole Vaikuntha is Sanatan, eternal. Yasa sarveshu bhuteshu nashyatsu. And then Lord Krishna is saying that in this material creation, everything is destructible. Every living entity is destructible. But in the spiritual creation, nothing can be destroyed. It is eternal. It is Sanatan. That is why we say our religion is Sanatan Dharma. Why? Because Sanatan Dharma means eternal religion, which is everyone's religion. Animals, birds, beasts, demigods, upper planetary systems, they all follow Sanatan Dharma. We are all a part of Sanatan Dharma. Why Sanatan Dharma? Because we have to go back to Sanatan creation, which is the spiritual world. So Sanatan Dharma means that Dharma which takes us back to our original world, which is Vaikuntha. That is called Sanatan Dharma. And that's what Lord Krishna is saying here. That beyond this material nature, there is another nature which is eternal, transcendental, and superior. And yasa sarveshu bhuteshu nashyatsu na vinashyati. And when everything in this material world is destructible, that spiritual creation is indestructible. Nothing can be destroyed there. It is eternal. Everything is eternal because that is spiritual in nature. Now text 21, shloka number 21. Avyatokshar ityuktas tamahu paramam gatim yam prapya na nivartante taddham paramam mama. Avyatokshar ityuktas tamahu paramam gatim yam prapya na nivartante taddham paramam mama. Translation: that indestructible spiritual world cannot be perceived by the gross senses and is the supreme destination. After attaining it, one never returns. That is my supreme abode. Now you see. So what is Lord Krishna saying here? Now Lord Krishna is saying that that spiritual creation belongs to whom? So Lord Krishna is saying, Tad dham paramam mama. That is my param dham. Dham means, we say no, Vrindavan dham, Jagannath Puri dham, Dwarka dham, Ayodhya dham. Why? Dham means a place where the Lord resides. It's the residence place of Krishna. Vrindavan dham means a place where Lord Krishna lives. It's the residence of the Lord. So that's what Lord Krishna is saying. Tad dham paramam mama. That is my param dham. Which is my param dham? Avyaktokshar iti uktas. Avyakta akshar iti uktas. So Lord Krishna is saying that that unmanifest world, which cannot be perceived by these blunt senses, by these gross senses, iti uktas, that's what I have told you, Arjun. Tam ahu paramam gatim. That is param gati. That is the supreme destination for every living entity. That is the goal for every living entity, to go back to that creation. Okay. Yam prapya na nivartante. Yam prapya. Prapya means to attain. So once a living entity attains that position, once a living entity goes back to the Vaikuntha planets, or once a living entity goes to the spiritual creation, Nanivartante, he never comes back again into this material creation. Tad dham paramam, and that is my param dham. That is my supreme abode. So once a living entity goes back to the spiritual world, he never comes back. Now you will understand why in the 16th shloka, Lord Krishna says that Abrahma bhuvana loka punaravartino arjuna mamupete tu konteya punarjanmana vidyate. In the 16th shloka, Lord Krishna said that even if you become Lord Brahma, still you will have to take birth again, Arjun. But once you come back to me, you will never take birth again. Why? Because Lord Krishna is saying here that my original dham, coming back to me means you come back to my original dham, which is Golok Vrindavan. And once you reach Golok Vrindavan, you will never take birth again in this material world. There is no birth again. Why? Because we revive our constitutional position. We are spirit souls. We are part and parcel of Krishna. So we revive our spiritual constitutional position. And that is our original position. So we never take birth again because we go back to our original creation. Because you see, living entities are not only seeking ananda, but living entities are seeking permanence also. Sat Chit Ananda, Satchid Ananda. Sat means permanence. That is why anyone who goes to the temple, they not only ask the Lord for happiness, they want permanence also. In this material world, how much ever happy a person may be, but there is no permanence. Even if a person is happy, how long? How long he'll be happy? Real happiness is only available in the spiritual world. Why? Because we have come from there. That is our original place. If a fish is removed from water, and even though a fish may be put in the most beautiful place on earth, but if there is no water, that fish will die. Fish can never be happy. You just remove the fish from water and place the fish at the most beautiful place on earth. Still the fish will die. Still it cannot be happy. Why? Because fish cannot live without water. Similarly, we are spiritual beings. We cannot live in this material creation. It's alien place for us. It's a punishment. It's a torture for the spirit soul. And that is why we can only be happy once we go back to the spiritual world, which is our original home, which is a place where we belong to. That is why we don't like misery. Why? Because we belong to Vaikuntha, where there is no misery. Right? So that is the goal of human life. That is what Lord Krishna is saying here. Tadham paramam mama. And that is Krishna's abode, the spiritual world, Vaikuntha. So that is what we are seeing here. We'll continue our discussion in the upcoming sessions also. We are actually in a very special part of the 8th chapter. This whole part of the 8th chapter talks about the esoteric aspect of this whole universe. So we'll continue some more aspects regarding it. We'll discuss more about it in the upcoming session. We'll stop here today. Thank you very much all of you for coming for today's session. Hare Krishna.